We ready? All right, very good. So welcome everybody. Glad you can make it tonight. Sorry we're running a few minutes late this evening. Tonight we are going to be making some zucchini burgers or patties along with some gravy. This makes a great holiday meal. It's also good if you if you're a busy person, you have weekends, you can make these. They freeze really nice, and so you can freeze them and pull them out, put an individual one or two in a bag or whatever, and just heat them up in the evening along with the gravy, and it works really well. So there's a few things you'll want to know. This makes life a lot easier. So part of what we're going to do this evening, we're going to tenderize the zucchini, and it involves removing fluid out of it. So this is what you would use to make cashew milk. So you put it all in there and squeeze the milk out. Same thing works great for this. Otherwise, not a lot of special equipment. I have pre-measured and prepared everything ahead of time. So let me just get my hands washed again. And we'll get started. I only do this about 1,000 times a day. All right, so I have preheated the oven to 375 so that it'll hopefully be ready when we... You know what I forgot to bring was a cookie sheet. We do have some here. Yeah, good. I'll need one of those. A cookie sheet, yeah, or something like that. Now, what you need is the recipe calls for about 4 pounds of zucchini. This might be a little bit more than that. So it's just shredded. I use a food processor to shred it up. And I augmented it with a little bit of frozen zucchini from last year's crop. This is grown out of my garden, so it's nice and fresh. And what we're going to do is the recipe calls for salt. You see a teaspoon or two that it needs. And we're going to add that first thing off. Yeah, we might need 2 of those, but that'll be great. We'll put those over here. So what we're going to do, this is freshly grated last night, not tonight. And so you really don't want to use the zucchini without preparing it. So we're just going to sprinkle the salt over the zucchini. And I don't know, have any of you ever done this with zucchini before? It makes it nice and tender. So we're going to, I just sprinkled it across the top. We're going to just mix it up in here. And I wish we had a mirror here so you could see. But basically, it's just zucchini. There's no fluid in here, but we're going to remove fluid out of the zucchini. And it just takes a few minutes to accomplish that. So I've got the salt mixed in real good, and we're just going to set it aside for a few minutes. And let me grab one of the recipes here.
I have cookie sheets in my car.
This will be fine. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So otherwise, as soon as the zucchini's ready, we'll be able to just kind of dump and pour. So you'll notice in the recipe it has cilantro and basil. You can substitute your favorite herbs for that. So we just want something leafy and green. I used dried basil because I didn't have any fresh, but I got some nice fresh cilantro. I like that combination. It makes a real tasty burger. The oat flour, where did we put it? Oh, here. Duh. The oat flour, I basically just took some oats, whole oats, and ground them in my Vitamix and made flour. I don't like it real fine, so I leave it a little bit chunky because that gives the burger patty a little consistency that I like. So And then there are some ground nuts. I used sunflower seeds and pecans. You could use walnuts, whatever combination you like. Probably pumpkin seeds would be really good for this, so you could kind of experiment with that. These are my seasonings. Ground chia seeds. I like to grind them when I'm making them, but I knew I couldn't do that tonight. So take your coffee grinder, your magic bullet, whatever you have, and grind them up. I like to have about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of ground chia seeds. You could use flax instead, but this adds a consistency to the patty and helps it stick together. It's like an egg substitute. So wherever you would use eggs in kind of baking stuff, you could do this trick with it, and it works really good. So let's see how we're doing over here. Okay, so we're making progress already. Nice. So do you know what's going on here scientifically? Do you know what's happening? So I'm going to show you. See all the water we're getting out of it already? So.
What do you put in to drain the water? Some salt.
Just salt, yeah. Do you know what's happening? So scientifically, this is called osmosis, yeah? So what we're doing is we're putting the salt in, and the water inside the zucchini wants to dilute the salt. And so it moves out of the zucchini and into the salt. And so you end up with a mildly salty, we're still not there, it needs to sit a little bit longer. And let's see, and then this is McKay's chicken seasoning. You can get that online, or I don't know what local stores might carry it. Maybe Sprouts or Trader Joe. I get mine from PUC up at the Village Market up there. So we're almost there. So with that, the gravy, you can kind of be doing two things at one side. It's going to be a cashew gravy. These are all pre-measured out. This is a 4X batch. I'm kind of hoping there'll be leftovers because I want to use it at home. So we'll see how we do. There'll probably be leftovers. And with the, see, I did need my measuring cup. I knew there was a reason I put it in here. With the cashew gravy, it's always half a cup to 2 cups of water. Is this RO water? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's real slow. We're not going to wait that long. So when I'm whizzing everything up, I only use a portion of the water. That's 2 cups. So I like to just cover it with a little more, about like that. So we owe this 6 more cups of water, but we'll start small. I have pre-measured the aminos. So these are just Bragg's aminos here. And these are all our seasonings. That includes the yeast powder, the garlic, the onion, the cornstarch. We're just going to put all of that in there. Sounds like our oven is warm. And so this is the liquid smoke. I'm going to use just a little bit. And I just use like a 1/4 cap. And that's it. A little bit of that goes a very, very long way. So you want to be careful with that one. And this is my new blender. The last one I had blew up at home. like to grind this until it's just real creamy. You don't want any graininess in it at all. So yeah, that's very nice. So good. So the last one I was telling you, it blew up on me. I was making gravy and it started shooting out the sides and I was like, oh no. So I put my fingers in it and it's starting to splash all over and I quickly turned it off and then it all just drained out the bottom and destroyed my last Vitamix, which was 12 years old. So that's all. So this is actually ready to cook. So we'll just set it over here for right now. And I should have pre-measured this stuff. This faucet's very slow. Faith water. If you have enough faith, it'll come out. Yeah. So that's 6 cups. We need 2 more. And I think I'll just start this on real low here. That's this, right? Somewhere down around here, and just let that start. Turn that off. Any questions about the gravy? We're just going to cook it real low. It's a real good idea that you stir this as it's cooking because it can stick to the bottom. Let's see how we're doing with our zucchinis. Looking really good, about ready to use. So we got lots of water we've gotten out of it. So what that does is that makes the zucchini nice and tender and soft. And if you don't do this, you're going to find that your patties tend to fall apart when you make them. And so this helps them stay nice and together when you make your patties. Making a mess. That's pretty good. So the original recipe that I got for this, the cook said the more water you can get out of it, the better. And so probably the second time I made it, I really got all the water out of it. And that was too much. So you can go a little overboard with it. So it makes them really dry and chewy, and you don't really want that. That's not what we're after here. So what we're going to do is we're going to dish all of this into our little bag. Maybe I could get a volunteer to hold this. Might be easier. So just hold it open like that. Kimberly does this job at home.
That's her job.
I have her hold it, and there we go.
Some stuff is good when you have help.
Yeah, yes.
You know, I baked some zucchini one time. They told me you have to put salt and let them sit for a while.
That's why. This is what you're doing with it.
Just so they can, you can get rid of some of the water. And
Yep.
they do have a lot of water there.
They sure do. Okay, perfect. And we're just going to give that a squeeze. And you can see there's a lot of water in it. That should be pretty good. wash this in a little bit. So let me just show you now. This is kind of what we have. That great big bowl of zucchini. And it's probably about a third of what it was before. Okay, so we got a lot of water out. All right, so from here it's all downhill.
Would you save the water and use it in some kind of soup?
I imagine you could. If you wanted that flavored, no reason not to, right? Might be a little salty, although you'll be surprised it's not that salty once you have it all diluted out. So I'm going to put my carrots in. I might be just a shade heavy on the carrots for this batch, but that's okay. I like the carrots. It gives it a nice flavor.
I make carrots too.
Yeah. And at some point you have to use your hands. Right now we're okay. So the next things are going to be these I use the pecans and the sunflower seeds. And let's see, actually, yeah, this is next. And then it's chia seeds. And then we have the green onions. Very good. And the cilantro. And then what's next? Basil. That's all in the seasoning, so I put the basil in here. So this has got my garlic powder, salt, chili, pepper, which is just a small amount because I don't use black pepper. That's what the original recipe called for. So just use a small amount of chili powder. Works real good. And then we need our yeast flakes are in there as well. And so all we need now is our oat flour. I skipped that. And a little bit of McKay's. And I forgot, half of this was supposed to go in the gravy. So I'm just going to put that in there. And I think that's everything. And this is where I put my hands in. And you're just looking to get it all pretty evenly mixed. I'll show it to you as soon as I have it where I want it. That's pretty good. Wash my hands again. And I'll show you what it looks like.
I got it.
Got it.
Looks good already.
Yeah. And so now what we're going to do with it is we're going to make them into patties, and we're going to just kind of saute them. I use olive oil for this because I'm not cooking it on a high heat. And I'll show you how to do that. Let's see how we're doing with our gravy here. Make sure it's the right burner. Yeah, it seems like it. Turn that up just a little bit. I cook with gas at home, so I have a much better sense of what my food's doing with gas than electric. Okay. We're just going to use just a small amount of olive oil. Not too much. That should be this guy right here. About right there. Put that away. I think we're good. So I brought along, there it is, a 1/2 cup scoop. That's what I use to make my patties. So I'll measure about a 1/2 cup, plop it in the pan, flatten it out. So generally I can put 4 or so in a pan. So it takes just a few minutes to do that. And I'll wait till this is starting to warm a little bit better. You can follow me around the kitchen by where my paper towels are laying. All right. So any questions about any of that so far? Now it's just a matter of sauteing the patties, and then we bake them for about 20 minutes, and we're all set, ready to eat as soon as the gravy is done. So.
I mean, if you cook it slow, it gives you more flavor, is that true?
Well, all we're doing with the sauteing is searing the outside of them. And so it's kind of sealing them off so the juices and flavors stay inside, and then we're baking them to thoroughly cook them. So I imagine you could probably do this all pan frying. The original recipe called for eggs, and so I think that's why they were baking it for as long as they did. But you do want them nice and warm inside, so good. That's getting pretty warm. So I just pop that on there and make a burger. So I often do that. I'll see something, ooh, I really would like that, but it's not vegan. So how can I adapt that? And so that's what I do, and this is the result of one of those. The original recipe was a zucchini fritter, and I thought that would be easily converted to a zucchini patty. They're just starting to sizzle a little bit. There we go. So on my gas stove, I will cook this on kind of a medium-low heat. On my stove, it's about a 4 or a 5 on the setting. So I tried to match that here. I put it on 5, and we'll see how that comes out. See if they're equivalent. They look like they're starting to cook nicely. this up just a bit. So because this has cornstarch in it, you know that it's a thickener, and you want to get it just to boiling. That's when it really starts to thicken at that temperature, and then you're done. That's all you need to do with it. Let's see. Starting to smell yummy. So having a food processor is really helpful with this because that speeds up you wouldn't want to sit there and grate a zucchini all day. If you were just feeding 1 or 2 people in your home, it's probably no big deal, but when I'm feeding 6 or more, it's a big deal. So.
And chopping onions.
Yeah. So the onions I chop by hand. I can chop pretty fast. Cilantro pretty fast. But the carrots, the zucchini, those are the big parts of the recipe, and so you want to try to make that easier. And you can't replace a Vitamix. It's just indispensable tool in a kitchen. All right. Let's see how we look here. Oh, yes. Nice. Hi, Vanessa. So just kind of. So this is kind of what we're going for. This one's done really nice. These could use a little bit more. So.
And they smell good.
Oh yes. Hopefully they taste even better. So any questions? Now it's just cooking and baking.
First, cook the zucchini first.
I'm sorry?
What if we cook the zucchini first before shredding them?
I've never tried that. I'm not sure. Your zucchini seems like it would be kind of gooey.
If we did that, then we wouldn't need to bake it at the end, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like if we cooked everything first.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I think you want that fresh flavor sealed into the patty. Yeah. But try it. Let me know how it goes. Nice.
Without the egg, what makes the patty stick together?
The chia seeds. So when you grind chia seeds, you know what happens to chia seeds when you grind them up and then you just put them in your mouth? And they go. Yeah. So they kind of absorb fluid and they're a binder. So they bind it together real nice. So they do the same thing that an egg will do. Yeah.
Fry it and let the mom fry. But the only thing is they are black and make people wonder, what is
Yeah. That's okay. You're getting a little more fiber. I had a patient a few months back who was like not wanting to take fiber. It's like, trying to educate that the gut works with fiber and water. That's how it works well. And their response was, well, I don't want to be hooked on fiber. And my response was, look, You know, if we have a gut that's working right, we're all hooked on fiber. We need it for the gut to work right. So it's interesting, you know, we don't mind being hooked on pot or alcohol, but boy, I don't want to get hooked on that fiber stuff.
But maybe they think fiber is something like chewing something really hard, like just eating celery all the time. You know, celery has a lot of,
Well, I would just wanted her to take a fiber supplement.
and they think maybe that's
She wasn't open to a vegan diet, so we had stepped it down to just a fiber supplement. That's all we need. And by the way, did you see in the news today? They're now culturing chicken flesh. They got a chicken cell and they've cultured it, and they're figuring out that they can grow chickens without a chicken.
so no way it's not gonna be animal, it's gonna be vegan.
Yeah. Well, it's kinder on the earth, I guess, but it's still an animal-based food. And I think all those studies about cancer and things are still going to hold true. So, okay, this guy is done. So let's start. Nice. That one might get a little overdone, but it's okay. Hope you guys are hungry. We got quite a bit here. This is just not cooking very fast. It's nice and hot. That's good. If we had any questions online, or we don't have that ability when we're on YouTube, do we?
There can be a chat. There is a chat available, but
Okay. Nobody said anything.
other windows coming.
I'm going to start cooking these. 55. That's not bad. It's about 20-25 minutes in the oven. That's good. And 15 to 20 minutes cooking, and you're done.
Which cooking method preserves the nutrients better?
What do you mean?
Like boiling, baking,
I don't know if I can answer that question. I'm not sure. It probably varies a lot depending on what you're making and how you're using what's there. So, boiling, for example, you're going to boil a lot of stuff off into the water. But if you're using the water in, say, a soup or something like that, you're not going to lose anything. So mashed potatoes, you're going to drain the water off. You're going to lose whatever went into the water. Frying is going to definitely save what's inside, but whatever's on the surface is going to get pretty destroyed. So I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I do try to eat for health, but for me, taste is really, really important. Put this up a bit. Yeah. You can leave the bowl out because I put stuff in there, whatever's left over. Yeah. Done with this stuff too. Nice. I know there were hot pads here somewhere. Ah, there we go. I'm gonna grab this thing out of the oven. This is what I don't like about cooking on an electric stove. It just kind of creeps up on you, and next thing you know, it's too hot. But it's almost there. Let's see if we can get it to boil. Paper. This one? Ouch.
Can I get one copy?
Absolutely. So the gravy's starting to thicken. We're getting closer. If you want to come up and look at anything, please feel free. It's just,
The texture, like, what's the ideal
yeah.
texture?
Well, this is going to thicken a little more than what it is. And then these guys are just about done here. That's nice. One's done. Those are done.
Oh, I heard it twice.
Let's see. One more. I'm not going to get four on. Put these on here.
Check out the YouTube video, Fountain View County Student Singing.
Our church that we attended in British Columbia, in Creston, we had probably a half a dozen to 10 students that attended there when they made all those videos. We had the most wonderful, they sing, talented.
What gets me is that you can't record that out in the open way they just.
Yeah, I know.
Record it in a studio.
Yeah,
And then they lip sync.
it's
out
all
there.
lip sync out there, yeah.
And I keep looking to him, this, and he, I guess it's perfect.
And the pianos and stuff, they're all just props.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, haul a piano out onto the rocks on the beach or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Everything's done in a studio.
In fact, it's a shell with a keyboard.
Right,
An electronic keyboard.
right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. If you look really close, you can see that.
yeah. That's right.
How about the ones you did with that group that had the piano outside and on the hill and on the mountain? What were they?
Big piano.
I tried to talk John into going to Fountain View when we were there, but he didn't go for it.
Where?
Fountain View in Canada,
Oh,
BC. It's a little bit like a Little Creek or Oklahoma Academy,
oh, I got you.
Ouachita Hills kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that's mine.
No, I guess I'll just toss it in the washer.
Do you have a quartet for salad?
Yeah. They sing for the Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's mine. So like I was saying, this actually makes a great holiday meal. So for Thanksgiving in place of turkey or Christmas. So we're almost there. The gravy's about done, and we have some of the first patties coming off in about 3 or 4 minutes here. So we're just about there.
Is there like water or juice or something in your refrigerator?
You could look and see. Do we have any bottled water anywhere?
Anyway,
Bottled water?
we used to have some back here.
Turn that off. The gravy's done.
Yeah, filter over there.
Beautiful. All right. If you see me tapping this, it's because in my house we have one of those things. You tap the thing, the water comes on. All right. So let's see. Do you mind if I dish you? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah. These guys here are done. Well, I'll let you come and get your own silverware and napkins, okay? be just a couple minutes and I'll have more coming off. So. The plan was I made some last night, so I made enough that I could bring some here so you guys could eat while I was making it. But I let the last ones overcook, so I decided not to do that.
Just for quality
Do you
control.
want-
I'm just waiting to watch that.
Oh, I see. This gravy we're gonna leftover goes in
No, I
that
need
bowl.
what- I need this.
Yeah.
You don't make it today, huh, Vanessa? You don't make it today, huh?
Oh, today's the day that we clean the house, Sabbath. So, yeah, he's in charge.
Anybody else? How many more do we need?
Need, one more.
There we go.
This is so good.
Isn't it
Oh my
good?
goodness.
It's so tasty. I love it. It's one of my favorites. So. Good. Now, if it's too moist for you, you can take more water out when you're squeezing the water out. If it's too dry for you, you can leave a little more water in. You can cook it a little longer in the oven. We'll dry them up. I found out last night. So, so you can adjust the moisture content for your what texture you like. So.
This is perfect.
And the shredding size affects the texture too. These are kind of on the long side.
Yeah, so I use a food processor, so just the food processor blade for shredding. That's what, yeah. I'd imagine on a cheese grater, it's going to be the large grating.
I guess the little grating pieces would be shorter if you cut the zucchini down the middle before putting it in. Or
So I usually, so this is what I do with my monster zucchinis. You know those ones that get away from you?
Yeah.
So cut the ends off, cut them in quarters, seed them, get all the seeds out. You don't want the seeds in this. And then depending on how big it is, like the one I did last night was like this big around. It was a gigantic thing. It was, so I cut the quarters in half. And then I chunked them up about this long and then fed them into the food processor. So it goes real fast that way. We are almost there. I'm going to have me one too. I'm hungry.
No, but you are, you came right here.
Yeah.
Until I was under, I stuffed my face with that avocado toast.
Yeah. It's all good.
opposing comments, thank yous,
So yeah, any questions, anybody? So the comments, people are enjoying it here, so it's one of my favorite dishes. Again, great for a holiday meal. Take the turkey off, put the zucchini patty on, you got the gravy, it's very tasty. So that's pretty much that. You can freeze it. They store great in the refrigerator. When you thaw them out, they seem to be just as good as when you made them the day you made them. So zap them in the microwave or warm them in the oven. They're easily reheatable. So
It's like a full meal of one.
have a great time. Good evening, everybody. More than welcome.